So you've been operating in a number of different jurisdictions, and the recent, uh, if I get this right, the recent acquisition of Sabina brings you into the more North American market, which is different. A lot of juniors start out locally and expand globally, but you're kind of in the opposite mode.
Yeah, I mean, the B2Gold executive team has operated globally throughout the world. I myself have, as I mentioned earlier, operated, Asia, South America, et cetera. And so it's kind of like a homecoming, for a lot of us to come back to North America. There's a lot of similarities between the Back River project and a lot of the B2Gold team from the Bema days, working in Eastern Russia, with Arctic conditions, and so huge challenge, for this operation. But now we can take everything that we've learned around the world in these different jurisdictions, come back and apply it here within North America, and it's a really point of pride for B2.
Well, I'm going to bounce around a bit, and for one of the things in North America we don't, well, I shouldn't say North America, maybe Canada, we we usually don't have any issues with water supply like maybe we do in Mexico or other jurisdictions.
Mm-hmm.
But you're operating in some areas that are very sensitive with regard to the amount of water available, watershed, water management in general. So that must be a key focus of your sustainability.
Absolutely. We've got several pillars in our different environmental or social approaches to things. But water is at the heart of everything, right? I mean, everybody needs water. It's critical for our operations as well. And so we've actually, the last couple of years, been implementing an updated approach to our water strategy. And in that, you kind of touched on that, is yes, this watershed approach, where we're going beyond looking at just our water use, our mills and our tailing facilities and our water storage, and looking at how do we ensure access to water for ourselves, of course, but also how do we ensure for other water uses, both in the immediate term, communities, are there other mines in the area, other significant projects in the area, population growth, everything on a larger scale approach to ensure that particularly also to throw into the mix, it's climate changes, that everybody is able to have access to safe, clean, and reliable water.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna get to climate change in a minute because
Sure.
uh, it's certainly a focal point. But I want to come back to something that you've mentioned a few times, but I like to emphasize it because when we talk about sustainability, one of the areas of focus for you is what's there when you're done.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't know if I've worded that well, but you've talked about that a few times. And is what do you leave behind when the mine is done, when B2Gold leaves? And that's another area that I see from your website that you're very uh, focused on.
Yeah, leaving a positive legacy is a key aspect of everything we do. It starts early, starts in even the exploration phases of getting to know the communities and the areas you're working in, so that everything you do as you continue to explore, and then design your mine. How do we mitigate our impacts, of course, and et cetera. But then as we go into operations, how do we invest? It goes back to, we talked about, employing locals and upskilling and training locals. But beyond that, how do we invest in our communities, so that, yes, when we do leave, can we leave other employment? So we have investments in agriculture in most of the operations where we work. Digital jobs and stuff is a possibility in the Philippines. Training with partnerships with industry. And how can we take this finite resource, and turn it into as much good, positive, long-term, sustainable growth in these communities, so that when we do leave, we've left these communities better off than when we started.